Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Raft series. Today we resume our activities at the large island we arrived at in the previous episode. So get yourself strapped in, get your favourite fancy swim fins on, and let's see if we can finish clearing this island. Now, just my usual preamble here. We did end up doing quite a lot in this episode. Now, bits and pieces of it have survived, hence there is 30 minutes worth of episode today. However, there was close to 40 minutes that was left on the metaphorical cutting room floor. So there's going to be quite a few jump cuts. There's going to be quite a few bits of sped up footage. For the most part, it's just my usual formula here. So before we, get on with things, in the previous episode, we did clear everything, I will say, above the waterline on this island, and we are now left with everything that is under the waves. As always, before we commence trying to clear under the waves, we do like to assist Bruce with these efforts to shuffle off this mortal coil. And he had a bit of a go at us as well. We weren't at our best for this one. I did lose sight of him once or twice because I got distracted. But otherwise, it did go reasonably well. And we are able to dispatch Bruce here in a moment, which will allow us to get on with our efforts of exploring and clearing the reef. Alright, now that we have dispatched our erstwhile, nemesis, I guess, we can get on with the efforts of clearing the reef. Now, I've elected to boost the... it's going to be one of those days for forgetting words, I can tell you. I've elected to boost the light levels a bit here because... I did elect to go pufferfish diving in the middle of the night. And some of these areas around this island are absolutely pitch black. So what I've done is just boost the light levels here. I do tweak them a couple of times over the course of this episode for various reasons. But for the most part... when I was actually looking for a few of these pufferfish, and yes, I did say a few, there was, I'll say, a lot of visibility issues in terms of I was latching on to movement more than anything else when I was looking around. So that's our first pufferfish. There's going to be more than one. As I hinted at when I was arriving at this island... This is the area next to where, if I didn't have advanced knowledge of this, I would have docked up here. Now, docking up here is a problem because there's a pufferfish here, and you might think, oh, why would that matter? Well, I would probably have a Bruce to deal with as well. So trying to deal with the shark while you've got a pufferfish around as well... I think it's easier to get on with your day if you just deal with them individually rather than trying to deal with two of them at the same time. So yeah, there is that. Anyway, that's our second pufferfish. I wonder if we can find any others. I mean, it is a big island. There could well be a few, and boom, there's another one right here. That's the main reason why I didn't dock here. there's actually 2 pufferfish, and having Bruce as well, yeah, that's not really a good look. Anyway, we've got our system down pretty well as far as dealing with pufferfish go. You just get close enough that they start sort of swimming directly at you, and then you just shoot them up with stone arrows. I mean, you can use the metal ones if you like, but I lose the occasional one on the bottom of the ocean, so I just stick with the stone ones. It just takes a couple of extra arrows to knock them down each time, but honestly, it's no stress. Once you've dealt with 1 or 2 pufferfish, they're pretty straightforward after that. Probably one of the easier foes to deal with in this game. Now, there's a cave here. This cave is actually quite good for loot, as you're going to see. Look at that, all that wood. And a bit of metal as well. And of course, because there's an air bubble up in here, there's always a little bit of wood and stuff floating on top of the ocean. And oh look, another crate. And we got a recipe with that one, which is fantastic because we do need more recipes. So we've cleared that one out. We're gonna scout even further here. But before we do, we are just going to go around the other side of this rock here and just confirm that there's no reef there. Yep, there's no reef there. So we've dealt with the 3 pufferfish that are in our immediate vicinity. We haven't actually done a lap of the island yet because I'm sort of aware that we may, depending on how many other chests there might be, if we just head off with what we still had in our inventory, we could quite easily run out of room by the time we got to the other side of the island. I didn't really want to be doing that, so I thought I'll go back and I'll unload all of our bits and pieces and mount our new recipe on the wall, and then head out with an empty pack so that we can get the maximum from the reefs. Now, just a bit of a supplies update. Technically, I could probably be skipping over pretty much everything except the metal and the blue weed at this stage because we do actually have quite a bit of sand. We've got quite a bit of clay. Our scrap's not bad, which is why I'm collecting scrap at the moment. The clay and the sand, I'm collecting it more for the fact that we are using that now as part of our meals, because the clay makes the bowls that the meals go in, and the glass makes the jugs that the smoothies go in. So we're always going to have a little bit of a drain in terms of glass and clay. And so, gathering a little bit from time to time is not a bad idea. But at some point, I'm probably going to ease up on how much I collect rather than collecting everything. I think I'll just be, grabbing every second or third one because it is starting to become a bit of a storage problem, to be honest. And I don't really want to spend the resources to make an entire chest just to fill it with sand. I don't think we're ever going to need that much. Same story for clay. I don't think we're ever going to need that much clay. We may end up putting down a couple of extra smelters at some stage, when we have a more stable wood supply. But for the moment, I'm really not. I'm not really feeling a need to extend our storage just yet. So rather than getting into a situation of needing to make more chests, I'm just avoiding the problem altogether. So, look, if you play like I normally play with Valheim, where I have a chest for everything, like one chest per item kind of thing, yeah, go ahead and do that. But at the moment, wood is a bit thin on the ground again, because I did burn a bucket load of it, fueling up the engines for the trip to Balboa Island. And during this episode, I did cut this unfortunately, but during this episode, I did check the fuel gauges on the two engines. And yeah, no surprise to me, they've got a snifter of fuel left in them, and that's it. So, unless I get a big windfall of wood, the next thing I'm going to be using will probably be biofuel. But I haven't really gone into full production mode with biofuel just yet. I have got a little bit going in the background, but trust me, that's probably not going to go very far when it comes to propelling the boat, large distances. So yeah, there's still a bit of work to be done in that area, and because we're kind of running low on wood at the moment, we're just focused on visiting islands, getting wood, getting recipes, making sure I've got plenty of metal, because I know that we are going to be using a lot of metal in the locations to come. Not the least of which just to keep us armed and with scrap hooks and things like that. But also there's more upgrades to come for the boat. And I dare say there's going to be a fair bit of metal at least required for them. I think there might be a fair bit of wood involved as well. So hence the side quest here from the main storyline, which is to get us stocked up again. I mean, there are upgrades that I've unlocked that I haven't even built on the raft yet. Granted, they haven't been a big priority, but at some point I am going to want to pull a trigger on them. So, and I'm referring to the fuel tank, but more so the sprinklers. So there's a sprinkler that you can make, and I think I do one in the next episode, so stay tuned for that. But there's a sprinkler you can make that automatically waters your crops, and it does save a bit of time, I've got to say. So we will sort of experiment with that in the next episode and try and see what sort of a setup we can get running. We probably won't use it a lot until we can sort of automate it a bit more. But more so, it uses batteries. And at the moment, we don't have any way of recharging batteries. And if I use the sprinklers for what I'm intending to use the sprinklers for, we're going to go through a few batteries. So, yeah, there's a few pending upgrades, which we'll be doing in stages. And because I haven't got all of the bits I need for all of the stages, that's kind of why I haven't moved ahead with it. But we've reached a point now where we kind of do need to start making baby steps in that direction. So yeah, we'll get as much as we can done, most likely in the next episode. But for the moment, we're still clearing the reef of anything and everything that we feel like we need. And we're also keeping an eye out for any additional pufferfish. Now, it may look like I'm just staring off into space, but trust me, there is a little island off there in the distance, and it's only a little hint and a palm tree sticking out of the top of it, but that's definitely an island. So we'll try and hunt that one down when we're done with this island. In the meantime, though, in this slightly deeper reef, we've found another pufferfish. And I've got to say, I love this island because this will make, I believe, pufferfish number 5, which is just absolutely fantastic because we did need some explosive powder to get our to finish getting our farm animals, you know, to make the goo, to make the powder, to make the charges or the ammo for the net gun. Yeah, we did not have a good time with that one in the previous episode with trying to catch the goat. We, in fact, went through all of the available explosive powder that we got from the pufferfish on that island, and we got nothing for it. Essentially, we shot and missed and lost the opportunity to get the goat. It's all right. We'll have more opportunities in the future, I imagine, with getting the goat. There is, of course, the third farm animal, which we've already seen on this island. And having this much explosive powder means we're in with a much better shot of, quite literally, of getting ourselves a clucker, which is what the little chicken things are called. So we're going to work on that a little bit later this episode and see if we can catch one of those little buggers and get them into our farm as well. But between now and then, I've got some bit more deep diving to do on this reef to pick up the last of what we can use from here. And I don't think there's much more left before we get back to the raft. So let's see how we get on. All right, it's time. We're just going to make ourselves a few explosive canisters here. I've cooked up 3 of the explosive powder for now. We actually ended up with 6 goo from the 5 pufferfish. So apparently, if you're super lucky, which I don't think I am, but anyway, if you're super lucky, occasionally the pufferfish can drop to goo. And the last pufferfish we killed It definitely dropped 2 goo. I saw it in the footage. So there you go. Things we know. So in actuality, we've got a total of 6 goo. We've, as I said, converted 3 to explosive powder, and we've made 3 net canisters for the net gun. We're now going to relocate our cluckers. I couldn't remember where they were, but it turns out they're pretty much the furthest you can get around the island when you go around this side. There is 2 here. Yeah, I could probably try and catch 2. But in terms of trying to keep the farm reasonably small and productive, I'm just going to settle for 1 of each animal. So for the moment, if we can get ourselves 1 clucker, I think that's going to be enough for our immediate needs. If we need another one in the future, we'll look at that when it comes time. But for now, we're just going to be happy with 1. Now, we obviously took the shot there from a bit too far away. I'm trying to pick the distance where we aren't close enough that the clucker sees us and wants to run away, but we're not so far away that we get the problem that we had with the net gun shot falling short and just bouncing off the ground. And yeah, let's not focus too much on our naming convention for this fella. When you've got a bird that's called a clucker, you get names like that going on. Anyway, we're just going to escort our clucker friend back to the boat. It's honestly, it looks like a more of a mixture of a vulture and a bush turkey, but anyway, it's definitely got a face. I hope only its mother could love, but anyway, we'll see how we go on that one. But yeah, we're going to drop this one off back at the farm on the island. Not on the island. We're dropping it off on the farm on the boat. And we want the clucker to be fairly productive because we're always going to have uses for the eggs that they lay. The Rudy, the llama here, we still want Rudy to be mildly productive because we do wear our clothing out from time to time, but the rate that we wear our clothing out is definitely a lot slower than the rate that we will need eggs from our clucker friend. So what I'm going to do here, and I do kind of mess this around a little bit, I'm not even sure I've got a layout that I'm happy with currently, but for the moment I'm just subdividing the enclosure here into 3. The thought is that I'm going to have, 1 animal in each of the 3 divides, but then that may or may not work, and I'll go into the reason probably in the next episode, and it has to do with how the sprinkler works. So for the moment, we're just going to settle for our 3 petition type arrangement, and we're going to have the clucker will have its own 3 plots of grass, which should be enough to keep it going and keep it laying eggs. For the moment, the llama is going to have its own plot. It won't have 3 for the moment because I kind of ran out of wood. But the goal here is that the llama's going to have 2 plots ultimately, and then the goat will have 3. Because the goat needs probably as much grass as a clucker does. Because actually, honestly, I think the goat might need more than that, but I'll visit that when it comes time. For the moment, we're just doing what we can with the available wood that we have, and then we'll kind of come back to it at a later date and make some more improvements. Alright, we are essentially done with this island. There is probably a sniff of resources still available on the reef. I did skip over a little bit at the end of my dive there because my hook was basically done, and but I didn't think it was worth going back to get the things that I missed. So we're just gonna cast off from here. Now, just ignore what I've done with the gardens for the moment. They are not in their final, well, honestly, I'm not sure what their final form is going to be, but I do make a very significant change to the garden layout in an upcoming episode. And for reasonably good reasons. Part of it was a bit experimental, so I wasn't sure if I was going to stick with it or not. But yeah, I'll go into that more in the next episode. Suffice to say, we've identified we need a lot more garden going on now as part of our fuel generation. So we're just going to end up tuning that quite a bit over the coming episodes to try and get it as productive as possible. For the moment, though, we're looking for a new destination. And I'm working on trying to guesstimate where that small island is. Now, I'm roughly pointing in the direction that I believe that that island was in, and it's not showing up on the radar, which leads me to believe that the small islands don't show up on the radar, and I sort of confirmed it just as I arrived at this island that we're pulling up to now. So I think the ones that show up are the big islands, and also I think so the rare islands, like the one that we're at prior to this episode. Well, prior to the episode before this episode. So the one that had the goat on it. That I'm pretty sure that was what they call a rare island. I still haven't really researched those. I should look into them and just confirm for sure. But that island was pretty rare and it was on the radar. The large islands are also on the radar, and the mission locations obviously are on the radar. So I just don't think these small ones are. Now, we've got our first two clucker eggs, and we're using those to unlock two recipes. They're just two different levels of the healing salve. The differences there is the left of the two heals a bit less than the right one, but the left one uses cheaper materials. So I'll work out what I want to do with those in coming episodes. Speaking of episodes, we've reached the end of this one. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and to consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Until next time, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure you have an absolutely fantastic day.